Yeah, I started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu when I was 15 years old. Okay, this was around 93, 92. And Carson Gracie Jr. was my first teacher in BJJ. Yeah, since then I did not stop. After Carson moved to USA, I stayed with another black belt from Carson Gracie Senior, Marcelo Alonso. After Marcelo also moved to USA after some years, and I stay also with another black belt from Carson Gracie Senior, Osiris Maia, and from them I received my black belt. I fight since I was 16 years old, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in Brazil, and I have some Brazilian championships on my career, some European tournaments in my career too, World Masters, and yeah, I think the competition, it's that moment where we are not there. Of course we are there for the fight, of course we are there for the medal, but it's the time you deal with yourself. You know, you have to deal with your stress, you have to deal with the people screaming your name when you are a black belt and fighting a high level. You have to deal with 3,000 people screaming your name. You know, you have to deal with all that pressure, what comes on your shoulder, not because your teacher put, but because you put on yourself, because you want to give the best, you want to represent the team, you want to make them proud. Then you learn to deal with yourself in a stress situation. And this changed me a lot, for sure. This make me ready not only for the BJJ, but for everything in the life. When I want to search a job, when I have a problem with a discussion with one situation on the street or something like that, when you have problems inside your own home with family or something like that, you are ready for the stress situation, you already know how to deal with it, you already know yourself better. Exactly, make you calm during the storm. Yeah, when I moved to Portugal, this was 2007, January 2007, I was already black belt. For some years already, and at that time we don't have so many black belts living in Portugal, you know. We have some ones, but not so many. The BJJ was growing at that time. Today the BJJ in Portugal, it's really big, you know. It's completely different than when I arrived there. We have only a few gyms with a few people training. A lot of people did not know what really was a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in that time there in Lisbon, but since that time the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu developed a lot there in Portugal, you know? In Germany, when I moved to Germany, this was 2011 or 2012, I think, and I faced the same, almost the same environment or the same platform there in the BJJ. When I arrived in Munich, we have just a few black belts. In Germany, we have already some good fighters, German good fighters, but they were not a black belt. And yeah, I think the BJJ in Germany also grew up a lot in the last 5 years. We have 3 IBJJF tournaments, we have Naga, we have Waed, we have a lot of tournaments, local tournaments. I think the BJJ is really growing, and in a few years we will see some German athletes on the top of the list of the main competitors in the world. I think this takes time. For example, when the BJJ arrives in USA, for many years we did not see nobody, only Brazilian guys going to the podium and to the semifinals and the quarterfinals. But this changed a lot, because if you think about, you need 10 years to make one black belt. And that first generation trained practically alone, because they don't have another black belt to train with them. Then the second generation already have a black belt to train, and they need also 10 years to make them. Then this is 20 years around, you know, when you think about time. Then it's normal for Europe, for example, this takes some years until we have more guys coming close to the medals or to the podium in the biggest tournaments in the world, you know. And also exists a process. For example, in Europe, if you check it out, the kids who train BJJ, they start as a kid. That means they have a long way, but they have a long time training. That means when they achieve the adult age, they already have a knowledge, and they will get the belts faster. When you start with 25, 30 years old, you will be a black belt, of course, but when you arrive in the black belt, you will be already master. You will not be adult. Then the kids training is also really important to make one adult competitor in the high level, you know, and this is all, like I told you, it's a long process, but we will be there for sure. Yeah, it's like that. For me, it's really difficult to analyze being outside, you know, and coming here for a few days and after tell really what is it. But my impression is the BJJ is really growing. I'm used to come to Italy since 2013. Just have now 6 years, around 5-6 years, and this really grows, you know, since the first time I went here. If we check it out, even the main tournaments in Italy, the national tournament, it's really big, it's really good. The no-gi Europeans, what it's based in Rome, it's big tournament. Before they were together with the Rome Open, with the gi tournament, they have to separate because this gets so big, don't fit everybody in one weekend. Then this aside now, this is growing in the country, you know. Takes some time. Of course, this develops from the big cities, from the main cities, to outside, you know, but we see a lot of small cities what already have BJJ, already have a BJJ group, you know. I think this is in the good way. Yeah, this changed me a lot, you know. And each time when you think about guide a team or be a main instructor or main head coach for one gym and fight in a high level, this gets really difficult, you know, because you have to train for yourself in a separate time because you cannot train together with your students. At the same time, you cannot look only for yourself, only for your training. You have to look for your students because they are fighting side by side with you, you know, and you want for them more than what you already achieved for yourself. You want them better than you know, and this takes a lot of time. From me, for example, you know, if I wanna fight the worlds or the Europeans, I have to stop everything what I'm doing around to train myself, you know, and to find the ideal balance, it's really difficult. I think I already stopped. I think last year was my last year competing. We never know if I will come back, but in my mind, now it's time to give attention for my students, give attention for the gym, give attention for the team, and make them grow. I will tell you something. I can tell you the best way. I don't know what is the best way. I can tell you what I do for myself, you know. If it's the best way or not, it's difficult. I came from one time we have no cameras. We have to watch the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu match, try saving your mind the movement, go to the gym and repeat it until you get the best of it. But just never get the same than what you watched. You will adapt for yourself, you know. What I try to do until now is I train when I'm out of the period or out of the competition season. I train with lower belts, with the people who cannot handle the pressure of the training or the intensity of the training so good in the same level than me, okay? Because with them, I try, they have a different timing, reaction, then I can try different things, I can adjust a new techniques inside my game, you know? And when this start to come close from the competition, I start to choose better my training, you know, not so much quantity, more intensity training, more intense training. The people has the same speed than me, the same strength, the same reaction than me, you know, to get sharp on that techniques, what I already adjusted in the lower belts. This is what I try to do. I still drilling techniques, I still doing physical training, you know, I still doing the homework out of the gym, but the most of the time you have to spend on the gym, on the mats. This is what change you. This is what change your BJJ. It's not only practice the BJJ, but understand the BJJ and understand what is happening in the fight, you know. Study it. Check out what is happening around you. Not only repeat, and at the end you don't know why you are doing it. I always like to play on the bottom. My main game is play on the bottom. I like to play on the bottom. And I start to play on the bottom on my blue belt, white belt, end of the white belt, in that transition phase when you are already old black belt and you old almost changing the belt. Then I start to play, really understand and play on the bottom. I just start to develop my top game when I was a brown belt. I know the technique, I could play on the top, but I was not so good like I was on the bottom. But why? Because the people already know me. I was an active competitor. I was already Brazilian champion. Then the people start to look to me and say, oh, this guy is dangerous on the bottom. Then I pull guard first. Then the guys pull guard first, forcing me to stay on the top. Then I was also forced to develop myself and learn how to play on the top. Today I can do both, I think, in the same level. But if you ask me what I like more to play on the bottom. Yeah, and I always develop my game inside a solution for my problems. For example, I start to do one thing, and for example, I start to attack the armbar, but my partner, it's used to defend the armbar putting this hand here. What I can do to avoid him to put this hand here, or to force him to put this hand out. And then he will change this hand for the other hand. And what I do to protect it, to prevent it, my partner stand up this leg, what I do, which attacks I can do, then I always work in the solutions for the problems, what happens inside that game, what I want to use. And the competition, it's like that. The competition was always for me a part of the process. Okay. Of course, like I told you, everybody step on the mat to win. Everybody wanna the gold medal, but I think this is not the most important what you can get. You know, sometimes the people wanna win any cost. You know, doesn't matter if it's nice, doesn't matter if it's ugly, doesn't matter if it's dirty, doesn't matter if it's fair, they just want to win. And this is not what I think about competition. Competition, it's the show time. It's the time what you put all that work, what you are used to do during months in the practice. You know, it's time what you can show the world what you are doing and put the name of your team, represent your teacher, and put the name of the team on the top. I always liked it. I always like to compete, and for me it's really, really hard to watch the people competing and don't compete. You know, this is really, really hard. But like I told you, I'm used to it. I do it since my 16 years old. For me now it's not a big deal. You know, I try keep motivating myself, make a goals for myself, to make my goals absolute and go forward and open hand for everybody or everything. But it's, for me, it's normal already. I like to do it. You know, it's a show time for me. It's good.
It's a part of.
It's part of me already.
Yeah.
It's like that. When you start to compete with regularity, you start to create a routine. Okay. Like you go in the gym, for example, change your clothes, put your gi, tie your belt, go on the mat, bow to the mat, go there, shake the hands, stretch a little bit. This is a routine. And you are always comfortable when you have a routine. If I pick you up today and put you in another gym completely different, you don't know where you change clothes, you don't know who you have to bow, you don't know if you have to sit down, or if you sit down in the corner, if you can stretch. Then, as soon as you start to compete with regularity, you get a routine. Of course you get nervous in the first time. Of course you get a little bit, not afraid, but anxious to step on the mat, you know. But this everything with the time just goes away. You know, you get your routine, you listen your music, you do your stretch, you do your warm up, the people start to scream your name, then you know it's time. That's it, you step on the mat and do your best. This is everything fast, you know, the competition is the easiest part because you have to do hard training for months. Diet, strict diet, hard training, physical training, you know, lifting weights, BJJ, drilling, studying, getting smashed day by day. The day of the competition, it's 5 fights. It's 5 fights, it's nothing. When you compare with 2 months of training, 5 fights, it's nothing. 5 rows you do every day in the gym. For me means, how can I tell you this? How can I explain you? The BJJ, it's the only fight in the world what you can tell them to stop. If you are training boxing, you cannot stop his punch. If you train taekwondo, you cannot stop his kick. The judo, you cannot stop the throw. If you are getting submitted, you can tell them to stop. And this make everything soft. If you are able to put your elbow out of the mat.
I thank you. Really.
Thank you very much.
It has been a
Appreciate.